What's going on, everybody? It's your boy, Danny the Bull, back with a live stream here on Tuesday, January 21st, and always a lot to talk about. Seems like this cycle is already getting crazy. We had the Trump coin last week, followed the next day by Melania. We'll talk about those and I think what they mean. You know, there's some interesting takes that I have on those launches. Talk about those things. We'll talk about some crypto news that just dropped in the last hour that is pumping Bitcoin back to 107K around right now. So maybe we'll get flirt with new all-time highs during the stream. Talk about DEVVE, which I just did an interview with Austin, the community manager from DEVVE this week. Talk about all of our favorite alts as always. So welcome everybody. And let's see who we got here in the chat. Dino Dragon in the house. What's good, brother? Astra is pumping. I did not see that. Let me take a look. Astra at $3. Very nice. $3.13. Nice pump on Astra, up 50% on the day. Lost my screen. We've got Timo in the house. What's good, Timo? So a lot to talk about. Be active in the chat. Ask your questions. As always, I'll get to them. But Bitcoin, let me share my screen. Is just under 107K, 106.9 at the moment. We've seen some volatility over the weekend. Trump inaugurated yesterday. A lot of people with the expectation that there would be day one executive orders on crypto. The price pumped into inauguration day, the day before inauguration day. You see this straight line up. This was a big pump from 100,000 to 108. We actually hit a new all-time high and touched 109K prior to inauguration, with the expectation that there would be executive orders on day one related to the Bitcoin reserve, related to the Silk Road guy being released from prison. It didn't come on day one. I think there's a reason for that. I'll talk about that a bit. I do still expect them. Price plummeted back down to $100,000, but now back up to 106K. And that happened shortly after this was announced. The U.S. SEC forms cryptocurrency task force, which we knew was coming, right? We'd heard about this. We have Sachs in as the crypto czar, and the announcement was made that the task force will be here to help the commission draw clear regulatory lines, provide realistic paths to registration, craft sensible disclosure frameworks, and deploy enforcement resources judiciously. This right here is more than Gensler's SEC did since he got into his position. He's gone now, also, thankfully. But the market reacted, and I feel like the market is just waiting. It's just waiting for some form of news about, a reserve strategy, some executive order related to crypto, and it's waiting for a breakout. And we'll see if that happens in the coming days or if it takes some more time. But I do expect more news like this, like more positive headlines and actions being taken from the new administration that will push this space, the prices higher, and move Bitcoin, into new all-time high territory. The good news is we've been now trading in a higher range. So even though there was a lot of volatility, after the inauguration, we dropped down. 100,000 is support at the moment, right? We dropped down to 100,000. It held as support. So, maybe we see some more, new range action in this now upper range. But it's only a matter of time until we break out to new all-time highs on Bitcoin. Ethereum is still in its year-long consolidation. It's a little red on the day. 3,300. on the 7-day up 5%. Look at it, looks like a stable coin. This is Ethereum on the month. It looks like USDT. This is Ethereum on the year. It's been in a consolidation phase for really almost a year now. You see February 20th, 2024, this is when it broke out to over $3,000. And so we've been in this long consolidation phase for Ethereum. And I do believe that Ethereum will lead the way to alt season. It has not yet outperformed Bitcoin. And historically, that's happened. Let me see. Here we go. Historically, Q1 is very bullish for Ethereum. And we saw explosive gains in 2021. 78% in January, followed by almost 8% in February, 35% March, 44% April, paving the way for alt season. Right now, we're barely green for January. So, looking for that to turn around and kind of catalyze alt season, because we're still in this 51 range, which is where we've been. Let me refresh my screen. 47, down a little. Right? And you see it in the portfolio. If you're heavy on particularly small caps like myself, you feel it in the portfolio. It's been down. All right. But it's just a matter of time. And I think good things to come. Let's see who else we got here. Raven in the house. What's good, Chucker? Chuck to a buck. Chuck getting listed on its second centralized exchange tomorrow. Bitconomy, top 30 exchange. So good news on the Chuck front. Ascendex did a listing about 6 weeks ago. G Money in the house. What's going on, brother? MVADE still strong. Yeah, MVADE is absolutely still strong. We'll look at that chart a little later, like we always do. B-Dubs in the house. Thanks for coming through, brother. Roland, what's good, Roland? Appreciate you. Marcus, USDC being minted, liquidity incoming, can't wait. I absolutely believe that the bags are going to be pumped hard, okay? I think we're in for a big alt season, and it'll feel like, instead of looking at we're going to get to a point where I feel like you're going to be looking for what hasn't pumped, because that's what happens when the tide turns. You're looking for the next runner, and then that runs. And then it's like, well, what's the next runner? I'm not chasing things. I'm not rotating. I'm not over-rotating. And so I'm just accumulating and waiting, and then I'll be playing some defense and scaling out. I hurt myself personally when I over-rotate, so I'm going to try not to do that. But I've got some thoughts and some things that were shown by the Trump meme coins for why I think, and to contextualize, I think the Trump meme launches can contextualize how these things are going to move. And I'll get to that in a second. Timo, what do you think about World Liberty Financial? If you can't beat them, join them. I'm not going to get in. I think it's going to launch at a very big valuation. I'm not going to be looking to get in. I think it'll do well. I think Trump coin will do well. Melania, not so much. Not so sure about that. I did buy some Melania at $4 and sold it. Not at the all-time high, though. Made a little. Mark Myers in the house. What's good, Mother Chucker? I got my Chuck mug, drinking some coffee right now. Roland, yeah, I'm still in AI tech and I'm still in Mint Layer. Have not touched those. I actually added to both of those last week. So yeah, still holding those. But let's get back to, I thought I had, well, all right. Some more news. An ETF, Osprey Funds filed for 7 spot crypto ETFs, including a Trump and Doge token ETF. So it's a meme-based ETF. When the Trump coin launched, I had my thoughts on it. And first and foremost, it was short-term bearish as it sucked liquidity from our alts, and we saw it, right? Especially a lot of things on Solana sold off hard. Even things that were on Ethereum sold off hard when the Trump coin launched. Then Melania launched. A little gratuitous, right? It's a bit much, but whatever. Both of those launches sucked liquidity out of the market. So that's short-term bearish. Midterm, though, it's bullish because there are headlines everywhere about the Trump coin, about Melania coin. My 70, I think he's 78, I'm not sure, 75-year-old father-in-law who has a thick Greek accent. He's Greek. He watches Greek news. On Greek news, he saw the Trump coin launch and how it went crazy and then how it sold off. And then he came over with $5,000 to invest in crypto, right? Because he knows what's coming. You're going to see a lot of people onboarded through the headlines, like the ones that are being generated by those meme coins, like them or hate them, right? And I don't like, all right, the first one I could tolerate. I don't like it. It's 80% supply to the team. I think it's terrible tokenomics. I tolerated it. The second one I thought was, now it's just like ridiculous, but it is what it is. I don't make, you can't control these things. But if you look at Google Trends, look at the search for crypto. These are search results for crypto in Google Trends. We are getting back to 2021 November highs. Okay? Look at the search, how to buy crypto. We have surpassed November of 2021. We were already trending up here. This is December. This is post-election right here. And now we're up here. So for context, we started trending up last cycle in January of 2021. Okay? Peaked out April, May. That's when the top of the market came in. All right, so I believe this right here is a precursor to retail coming in, to new people coming in, to new money coming in. And, we're not far now. And, I feel like we say that all the time, but I believe that. Another take that I had, and I think it's my, my biggest takeaway from the Trump and Melania meme coin drops, you saw how it moved the market and drained liquidity from other coins. That's, just the Trump coin alone. That's one project that was launched, went to $5 billion, took liquidity from a lot of other tokens. We sometimes forget how small this space is. We think this is a huge industry. Crypto is a huge industry. There are thousands of coins. This is a tiny industry. The total market cap of the total three, right, all coins, excluding Bitcoin and Ethereum, is, what is it, $1 trillion? That's less than single stocks on the stock market. That's less than Meta. It's less than NVIDIA. NVIDIA is 3 times the value of all of alts outside of all crypto outside of Bitcoin and Ethereum. That includes Solana, Avalanche, XRP, Doge, all the big caps, all the small caps. Put them together, they don't equal Meta. We take for granted how small this space is, and we think, how can coins possibly go 100x? It's exactly because how small this space is. It doesn't take a ton of money to flood in to pump the bags. And you saw that with the Trump meme coin. One coin put pressure on other coins. Reverse that and multiply it, and you're going to see many coins do what Trump coin did in alt season. All right, so that was my biggest takeaway is don't underestimate how small this space is. It's going to move and move hard when it happens because the moves to the upside are very violent. It's just a matter of waiting for it and grinding it out because it's a grind, right? But again, you point to, I've shown this before in previous streams. This is the move that XRP made in 2017. It was a 10-week, in the matter of 10 weeks, right? 4 weeks and 6 weeks, 10 weeks, 8x. This other shit coin I never heard of. Well, this was a little longer. 18 weeks, 8x. Solana last cycle, 16 weeks, that's 4 months, 13x. Sand last cycle, 15 weeks, 20x. You're talking 3 to 4 months. The majority of gains will be made over the course of 3 to 4 months. The heaviest, the biggest gains coming at the end of that, right? The biggest multiples coming in the last weeks. And so you just got to be patient and wait for it. Let's see who we got in here. Yes, sir. Raven. Chuck mug on sale at Chuck on Base website. Created by Jordan Riz. Walshy in the house. What's good, brother? Deie I'm super bullish on Deie. I'm going to get into that. My neighbor's nephew lost over 75K, Jesus, and tried to rationalize that loss by saying at least. It's wild. It's dangerous, man. If you're going hard on these things, it's dangerous. I try to stay away from that stuff. I mean, I know someone who made a couple $100,000 on it, not an in real life guy. But there's always someone on the other end of the trade. So be careful. Yeah, let's get into some of the alts. TET. I covered this in my last stream. I mean, the sentiment has been bearish. It's at $3.92. I think fundamentally it's still strong. It still has the soft node technology. It still has 3 million TPS. Fundamentally, the narrative is very strong. Sentiment has been bad because of very poor communication, some team members leaving, perhaps as a result of that. And so it lost support, right? It was basically trading in a range like a lot of coins and holding between like $4 to like $8. And then it lost that $4 support and it went down to it all the way to, I think, $3.50 or something recently. And now it's got to regain that $4 and flip it. Things can change rapidly. People ask about Mint Layer also. Mint Layer is similar. And they're kind of in similar, I mean, they're different, but they're both associated with scaling Bitcoin, right? And both of them ran at the same time last cycle. But keep in mind that things shift very rapidly and gains are made quickly. So Mint Layer, for instance, was down from, it was 17 cents in May of 2023. It bled all the way to 2 cents. What did sentiment feel like here for people who bought here? Felt like shit. And then it quickly did, whatever it did, a 20x or from 2 cents, 50x, more than a 50x. It's about $1. And now it's bleeding. But, can it get back to, $1? Absolutely. $2? Yeah. $3? Yeah. Can Tectum break out again and reverse negative sentiment? Yeah, absolutely. Here's Tectum. This is the all-time. So again, Tectum in 2023 got up to about $13, bled down to I want to say it got down to $1. Maybe I'm wrong. Came down to about $3. And both Tectum and Mint Layer moved at the same time. All right. So I'm not overly concerned with price action on some of these, just because I think when liquidity comes, if they're good projects, they're fundamentally strong, if they have a good narrative in the right sector, they'll move. I did scale a bunch of my Tectum out just to buy more DEVVE. Because I've been really bullish on DEVVE. The more I've learned about DEVVE and researched, I've been really bullish on DEVVE. So I did buy more this weekend in this range. But look at this chart on DEVVE. I think this is, if I'm not a TA guy, but I think it's like a cup and handle. And I do think DEVVE can get to, I think can get to $1 billion pretty quickly if they announce, if their announcement is as big as they say it is, and it's supposedly really big. I had Austin from DEVVE on my channel yesterday. We did a great live stream, hour-long AMA about the project. If you're interested, check it out. But I'm really bullish on DEVVE. I'll circle back to them later, so I did want to talk about them. Bought some hat on its recent dip. Yeah, I mean that's why I bought it, is because it's in the same ballpark as, it's playing in the same field as virtuals and AI6. Now, this is going to be an oversaturated field, right? It's an AI launchpad. Let me pull it up. I think I have the top hat. Here's top hat. So top hat is a launchpad for AI agents. Think pump.fun for AI agents. Anyone can go in there and within 3 minutes create their own AI agent with its own knowledge base. And they're effectively like meme coins. And then people trade those AI agents. All right. So virtuals has been really successful, and it's launched some very successful agents, right, that have led to its rise. AI6 is the second biggest by market cap. I believe it's virtuals first, AI6 second. Top Hat, those are both over $1 billion. Top Hat is sitting at about $50 million market cap. But the thing about Top Hat is, I believe it has the third most agents launched after virtuals and AI6, right? So I missed virtuals, I missed AI6. There are going to be a ton of launch pads. I like the branding. I like I like that it's on Solana. It's the first one launched on Solana. And if you look at it, it's launched a bunch that are holding up. You got Colin is their number one market cap agent. It's at $30 million. This one's at 11 million. So it's got 10 that are over $1 million market cap. If you look at, this is some data. So these are the launches taking place on Top Hat, right? It's been a lot of activity, a lot of active users over there launching a lot of agents. And I think that's what you need to be successful. And then if those agents catch flight, that brings attention to Top Hat and will catapult it. I think it's a potential to get to $1 billion market cap like those others. Does it happen? Who knows? It's a very, crowded field. There are going to be more and more launch pads that come out. And so, but you got to place your bets, right? So I chose Top Hat and I chose SPEC on base because I wanted some exposure on base. And SPEC is at $100 million market cap. So I do think that this is a good entry. I loaded up on Top Hat. It's at 5 cents, $55 million market cap. Chart is holding up here, right? So this is kind of like the low of the, we'll see if it breaks below, but if it doesn't break below, this might be, a bottom of the range. It's the bottom of the current range zone. I thought a good buying opportunity. All-time high of 10 cents. So it hit 100 million market cap. Tested it, came back down. We'll see. But I do like the prospect of it. And I'm just going to hold it. I'm not going to sell. I'm going to accumulate and see what happens. Because I find when I over-rotate, I make mistakes. So jumping from one thing to another doesn't always work. Yeah, and that's exactly it, Walshy. Stay true to what you have. Do your own research on otherwise gains get given away flip-flopping. It's hard to move from one coin to the other because typically when you hear of the other coin, you're hearing about it after it already went up, right? And so you're down on one thing, you sell it to get into something else. Not to say that you shouldn't cut something that you think is a loser. And, it's nuanced, but over-rotating can hurt you, right? So stay with your conviction plays, formulate your thesis. I'm not afraid to pivot, but I try not to over-rotate. Gino says, excited for Sky and Create. I haven't heard of Create. I saw that Sky migrated to Base. Flip side is that the president creates a meme coin and it only goes to 8 billion. And yet we're hoping for billions for Medicaid and Tectum. Yeah, no, I think it did that in a day, though. I think that's important to recognize. And there are people, I saw that someone made like $30 million on this trade. Put in 600,000, came out with 30 million. It's people have to make money off of it. People who get in early have to sell it. New people have to get in. It's a natural, thing. And so it's holding up really strong. I mean, it went to $74, came back down to about 30, in the low 30s, I think. I think that Trump coin gets up there, man. I think it's going to go to over $50 billion market cap. I think it's got the potential to, in peak bull run, it's at an $8 billion market cap after 3 or 4 days. I think it can get to $100 billion market cap. I think we're going to see meme coins hit $100 billion market cap this cycle. And this is a potential for that because Trump is a walking, living meme. Everything he does is a meme, from his YMCA dance to the things that he says, to his facial expressions. He's quite possibly the most recognizable person in the world, even above Elon Musk. You think about how Elon drove Dogecoin and how he catapulted that last cycle as one of the most well-known and recognized people in the world. Trump is that and then some. And so I do think that the coin is going to get to, 100 billion, or could, not will, but it's got, I think this is not the end of the road for it. What's good, brother? What missing all the monsters? Which monsters are you talking about, brother? What are you talking about? Let's see. In other news, the Bank of America CEO says financial industry will jump into crypto payments if regulators allow it. And again, we're going to see more and more headlines like this. I feel like the whole market is just waiting on, the next move from this administration in terms of policy, executive orders, and things like that. There's a Solana ETF that's been proposed. I think we're going to see other things that play out that people aren't anticipating. For instance, we talk about Ethereum kind of, being range bound for a really long time. What happens if and when, the SEC says that ETFs allow for staking rewards? Because Gensler didn't allow for it. And so if you hold, ETH ETF, you can earn staking rewards. which have like a 3 or 4% yield on them. Institutions love yield. I can really see Ethereum being an institutional, play once they approve a yield on the ETFs. You talk about someone mentioned World Liberty, Trump's crypto project, the Trump family crypto project. They just bought like $47 million of Ethereum. I think today that caused either this spike or this spike here. And so we're going to see big money flow in, and it's going to catalyze this market. Solana recorded daily fees of $32 million amid the Trump meme coin frenzy. And if you were trying to, transact in Sol during any of those drops, you saw the congestion that it caused. All right, Sol went down for a little. For the most part, it stayed up. But Coinbase ran out of Solana. It took 9 hours. I tried to get Sol from Coinbase and transfer it to get some other things, to buy some more Top Hat, because it was down and bleeding. And it took 9 hours for Coinbase to process that purchase. So, it's another example of how small this space is, and how big it could get this cycle. And that leads to Gino's question: what do you believe the market cap for the entire crypto space will peak at? So I've always said, and I'll pull it up now. Is this it? Here. Wait. Here. Yeah. So in 2018, total market cap was 760 billion. In 2021, it was 3 trillion. This I made last year, and I said 6 to 9 trillion. And I'm sticking by that. I think we can get upwards 9, 10 trillion in total market cap for this whole space, which would be a 3x from last cycle. That might seem like it's not a lot, but look at the number of projects. Look at the multipliers, right? We went from, 50 projects to a billion in 2018 to 135 in 2021. We could see the top 400 coins in that $1 billion territory this cycle. That's big. You could get the top 1,000 coins, close to 500 million. Think about, for instance, where Medicaid stands right now. It's at 58 million. This is wrong. I shouldn't use Medicaid because they've got the market cap wrong. Let's go with TET. Something that we talk about. So TET is number 797. For comparison, it's at a $30 million market cap. It's number 797. So here we go. If we get 750 coins at $500 million market cap, right? So for context, something like TET in its 777th place right now in the crypto market could conceivably go to 500 million, right? From 30 million. That's almost a 20x. And coins are going to move differently. You can't just say what 750 now is going to be 750 then, but it gives you context, or gives us context for the multiples that these coins are going to do. All right, so keep that in mind. Thoughts on Hint, Hive Intelligence? It's backed by Animoca, on base, coming to Sol. Let me look it up. I look at so many coins, I forget what I look at. Yeah, I've heard of Hive. $8 million market cap, super small. When did this launch? It's a new project. Let's look at the website. Connect your AI agents to blockchain data. Yeah, I need to dive deeper, but AI field, things are going to move, and if it's a solid project within AI, then I think things are going to move, and people talk about there it is a crowded field, and not everything will do a 1000x or 100x, but there's plenty of money in this space to push, a lot of projects up. And if things work in cycles this time, like for instance, if AI peaks at one point and then gaming peaks at another, you can see run-ups on a lot of different coins at different times. And that's my expectation for how things play out. But, to make a gamble on a small cap, right? $8 million market cap in a hot sector, if it's got a good team, if it's got good tokenomics, these things are, if you like gambling, they're worth gambling. Let's see what else I had here. Bear with me. So total 3 is really kind of pushing against it, right? It's kind of like, I feel like a breakout is imminent, right? If you look at last cycle, you saw it, kind of pushing against it before it broke out to new all-time highs. We've been in this upper range of the total 3 market cap now for a little while, and it's just a matter of time for a breakout. So I'm super bullish. Rio is another project I'm bullish on. RWA is now integrating with Solana, and I think Rio moved as a result. I think we're going to see things like RWA move in different sectors popping off. And maybe Ondo leads the way there because Ondo sponsored. It's one of the projects that sponsored Trump's crypto ball. It's at a $4 billion market cap. It's an American-made coin, and I think that that's going to be another catalyst, right? American-made coin. Like, there are things that we're not even thinking about or that we didn't think about months ago, like American-made as a sector. If they say no tax on American-made projects, right? Which I think Rio is definitely an American-made project also. Here's Rio. I'm bullish on Rio. I'm bullish on RWA. But don't get discouraged though. If, we talked about Mint Layer before and I was in the Telegram, the price is down from where you bought it at, but just remember how fast things move, right? And we're going to get back to this zone pretty quickly, I think. But I did talk to the communications manager at DEVVE yesterday, Austin. I'm super bullish on DEVVE. If you're not familiar with them, check them out. They've got DEVVE Exchange launching later in the year, and it's revolutionary. It allows for self-custody, right? So it's a centralized exchange that allows for, it's got technology that allows for self-custody. And you see all these exchanges when they go down like FTX or whatever, there's a lot of risk involved. Everyone says, don't leave your money on exchanges. They solve that problem and allow for self-custody. They're privacy enabled. So, your wallet address changes and people can't, just track your buying and selling, which is important when it comes to institutional money, because what they're doing is bringing traditional finance onto DEVVE exchange, right? So for instance, the idea is you'll be able to trade stocks, tokenized real estate on DEVVE. And they've got a partnership that is supposedly a household name that is a pillar of the traditional finance industry that's going to be announced in the coming weeks. I don't think days, but I'm super bullish on DEVVE, and I added a bunch. And I think that, we're getting to a point, the longer we go, the less time that we have to accumulate, right? It's only a matter of time before the spark is lit and these things run. And then again, how that they run hard. See, 34 people in here. What do you guys want to talk about? Light up the chat. I'm trying to look at my notes here. Another thing that I realized this weekend when I was buying Top Hat and I was selling, I actually sold some Astra, which is popped, which is why I don't rotate. Because now Astra is popped at $3. And I sold a bunch at $2.25. But when I was selling my Astra on MEXC, and it's not because I don't like Astra. I still like Astra. It's a great project, $27 million market cap, a lot of potential. But when I was selling, I had to sell in small pieces because I was affecting the price, right? And we don't realize that. Again, how small this space is. And when I was buying Top Hat, I was pushing the price around. So there's, small liquidity in a lot of these tokens, and that makes them hyper volatile, which is, why we get big dips when there are big sales and why we get monstrous upside when the markets pump. It's because there's not a ton of liquidity here. And so, I moved the Astra price alone, like I want to say 8 to 10%. And when I was buying Top Hat, I had to set limit orders, and it took me, hours to fill my position at the price that I wanted. So it's another thing to keep in mind. Yeah, so DEVVE is a good investment because it's, when I was talking to Austin, I asked for a comparable. The only comparable in the market for DEVVE is Hedera. That's basically doing playing in the same arena. Hedera is a top 20 coin. HBAR. The market cap is $13 billion. And what HBAR does is serve institutional investments in traditional finance and tokenize real world assets. And that's what DEVVE Exchange is going to do, but they're going to do it. They say they're going to do it at a higher level with 8 million transactions per second with their sharding technology, their blockchain sharding technologies. They can build blockchains for every institution based on whatever they want and whatever their needs are. And they're regulatory compliant in every jurisdiction because of how they're built and because, with their privacy and their levels of security. And so that's why I think DEVVE could go to, billions. That's it. And if you're interested, watch my live stream with Austin. And I've been in DEVVE for a year, and I just accumulated some more. I think there's a lot of upside there, and I think the chart. I talk about things being down. Some projects are down, like Tectum, whatever, and that doesn't mean that they're not going to go up. But when you look at a chart that's kind of bucking the overall trend, right? This is over the last month, it's up 60%. And if you look back over the last, it's up 10x still from the bottom, and it's retraced from $1.70. Right, so this was up this bottomed out at 14 cents, right? We were buying all down here. It looks like a potential winner to me. And, winners keep on winning. So that's why I like DEVVE. It doesn't mean that I don't like the others. I still hold my mint layer, still holding some Tectum, but I did sell some of my Tectum into DEVVE. That doesn't mean you should. All right, everyone make your own moves. Is Sologenic not doing the same on the XRP networks? I'm not familiar with Sologenic. You mean, is it doing the same as XRP? One DEX for all digital assets. Or you're saying, is it not the same? Or you're talking about doing the same thing as DEVVE? I don't understand the question. So I don't know what Sologenics looks like. It looks like it's limited to a DEX for all digital assets, whereas DEVVE will start with digital. We'll start with like crypto, and get to tokenizing stocks, RWA. But DEVVE is regulatory compliant for every and infinitely scalable with privacy enabled. It's really built for traditional finance, because the thing with crypto projects, and I don't know about Solo, so I can't speak to it as well. But the thing about crypto projects is that if you lose your keys, or if you click a link and get your wallet drained, you can't call anyone. With DevX, their exchange, they're going to be able to reverse transactions, right? Which flies in the face of like some crypto. If you're a crypto purist, you don't like that. But if you're targeting mainstream adoption by big institutions, and you're talking about tokenizing like NASDAQ and BlackRock, BlackRock is not going to have a system where people click a link and get their wallet drained. That can't be. And so DEVVE technology allows for guardrails to be built to bridge traditional finance to Web3 and crypto. So I think that's a key difference. And again, check out the interview. And I'm also not overly familiar with Solo. Qorpo. I've heard of Qorpo, but let's look and pull them up. $11 million market cap. Looks like peaked back in the bull run, the mini alt season that we had last year. I mean, the chart looks very similar to a lot of other things that are down. Is this an AI agent? No. Oh, it's gaming. I see. Here we go. And I think gaming is going to have a comeback. And I think if it does, projects like this can do well. 75% burn, 25% play for free, earn with NFTs. Yeah, I think that gaming is going to have a run at some point. And we saw projects like this put in many multiples. We saw WAGMI, we saw Lit Games, even something called VEMP, which was from last cycle. It's not very impressive at all. It did like a 10x really quick. Did I consider another AI play before going into HAT? Yeah, I looked at a bunch of different things. I made this list of projects, and I did research on different things. I looked at Spectre down here, the $28 million one. I looked at some. I wanted an ecosystem. I looked at ORI, but I wanted something a smaller market cap. And so I looked at a bunch, and I settled on SPEC and HAT. Not to say that those aren't going to be those are the winners, right? Those are just two that I thought had potential. And sometimes, maybe it's better to buy like 8 things and spread out over a bunch so that you catch, a possible winner. But, the way my brain is wired, I kind of go heavier on a smaller amount of things that I think can do well. Thanks, brother. I'll take a look at Solo. Do you think it's still a good idea to buy, especially some more US coins? Yeah, I think it's a possible play. He's floated the idea of US-based coins. And if I'm not mistaken, in the category section, whoops. Let's go to categories here. So now there's a categories section for Made in America. And maybe there's like some seasonality to this. Maybe like, Made in America coins get hot when there are headlines. But if there are real tax benefits for Made in America coins, it makes sense to own, if I'm deciding between, something that's similar, because there are thousands of coins, right? So if I'm deciding between something that's similar in market cap, similar sector, similar project, but one's made in America, one's not, and Trump says that Made in America projects will incur 0 taxes when selling. You're paying like 30% to taxes or more if you're selling, if you're short-term capital gains tax. If you held for a year, long-term, it's 15%. Short-term taxes are a big, it's a lot. So I think if that does play out, I think that people will be likely to gravitate towards, some Made in America projects. And there are some good ones. Right? I just bought some render for my father-in-law. There are a lot. And maybe we'll get a migration to America, from a lot of projects. The thing about it is it could be a short-term thing, right? Because, presidents change every 4 years. So I don't know how many will migrate, but I'm sure some will. And it's not hard because everything is done remotely anyway. So you're just basically setting up a corporation in, a country. And a lot of people just do it in Switzerland or somewhere offshore to insulate themselves from US regulation. But if that's not a thing anymore, the people will be inspired to shift back. So it's definitely something that I think is worth considering. And that's, if they do that, right? Which we don't know that it'll happen. But here, whoops. Here you see on Inauguration Day, Donald Trump Jr. posted, that in honor of the 47th president, they bought $47 million in ETH, $47 million in wrapped Bitcoin. Why wrapped, brother? 4.7 million in AVE, 4.7 million in TRX, 4.7 million ENA. Right? So, you know, it's bullish for this space when, you know, the president's family is buying crypto in large amounts. And I think that one reason why we didn't see a day one executive order on crypto is because of the meme coins and because of the possible, you know, backlash that would come his way, you know, as, you know, he just launched his meme coin. And maybe he didn't want to be seen as pumping his own bags, right? Which is what he would have effectively been doing. And so, and plus there are many more important things, right, than crypto, even though not to us. But, you know, I do think that the market is waiting for some news. And the other thing to watch out for, which I talked about in last stream, is the next Fed meeting is on the 29th, right? So that's just in a little more than a week. Next Wednesday, the Fed meeting, everyone is expecting a pause on rate cuts, where they'll do nothing. That's not the important thing. The important thing is, what do they signal about future rate cuts? That's the important thing. And so maybe we stay range bound until the next Fed meeting next week. And then we get a breakout or a breakdown, depending on what happens. But I am leaning towards breakout. Let's see. And this is something I talked about last stream also. The Pi cycle top is an indicator that's used to track the top, right? And it's basically when, where's the post? It's when the short-term trend overtakes the long, or crosses with the long-term trend. You typically see a top in Bitcoin. Right now, you know, the prediction chart is forecasting a Bitcoin peak in 2026, right? That doesn't mean that that happens. This will change as Bitcoin heats up. But right now, the short-term trend, you know, the trend lines of the short-term trend and the long-term trend are lining up for a peak in 2026. I think we heat up soon. That changes. We peak earlier, probably, you know, third, fourth quarter of 2025. But it's something that, you know, people should be aware of and keep an eye out for. Been going for about an hour. If you guys don't have any more questions, I'm going to wind down and wrap up. I want to thank you all for coming through for another stream. I'll get back at it in a couple days, and I will catch you guys in the next one.